You took a long deep breath and gathered courage as it's your first day at job and then entered inside Jungkook's office and walked to his table. Good morning, Mr. John. He lifts his head to look at you. It's Kim Wan, your new secretary. He stood from his chair and walked to you and let out a sarcastic chuckle. Secretary, if it were not for my dad, then you don't even deserve to be an employee in my company. I am hired after a proper interview. I have not even met your dad before. He was impressed by my skills, so he hired me. Fine, don't explain yourself here. And what is this 19th century dressing style of yours? What's wrong with my dress? Don't you know you are dressing like an old lady? What kind of company is this who judges employees on the basis of their dress instead of skills? Have you got skills? Yes. Good to hear. Then show your skills and talent in your trial period. Let's see if you can stay here or not. Sure. Your first task is to get changed. What? Why would I get changed? Yo, this vintage stress is getting on my nerves. Do you even know how much this stress means to me? I don't care. I'm the boss here. I set the rules and you have to follow them. So now go and get changed. You know what? You are so self centered and full of yourself. Don't know how you became the boss. Jungkook gritted his teeth. You arrogant woman. My name is Kim Wan. You said sternly, yet firmly, and he clenched his fist. Listen, you Kim Wan, don't ever talk back to me. I hate it. I'm just expressing my opinion. Do not, okay? If you don't want to get fired on the first day of your job, then don't. You flinched a little. That's enough, Jungkook. Stop scaring her now. Namjoon entered inside with hands in his pockets. Namjoon is Jungkook's elder brother and vice president of the company. I'm just telling her how to behave with her boss. Correction, arrogant and self-centered boss. You murmured, but Jungkook heard it and glared you, and you instantly cursed yourself and looked down. You said that you have a good memory, right? Yeah. He walked towards his table and picks a file. Here, memorize all of it by evening. This is all of it? Jungkook raised his brows. Yes, that's all for now. Memorize it bit by bit. No, Young, don't get in her way. He again walked towards his table and picks a group of files and come back to you and handed you all those files. Your eyes widened. You wanted more, didn't you? Now memorize that all by evening and get yourself dressed in a more fashionable way. We are going to an event at night. You can go now. You glared at him for a few seconds, then left from there with the stock of files. Don't tell me that you are going to take her to tonight's party. Yes, I am taking her there. I want to see if she can handle it. Be a little gentle with her. After all, she is your secretary. Hyung, she has got the guts to talk back at me, and that annoys me so much. Namjoon chuckled. Dad has finally found someone who can handle you. That arrogant jerk, he is so full of himself. How I am going to handle him? He gave me a lot of files to memorize. How will I memorize it all by evening? God, please save me from this jerk. You enter inside the office all dressed up for the party. You notice Jungkook busy on his phone, so you clear your throat and good evening, Mr. John. He shifts his gaze on you as soon as he heard your voice. His heart fluttered as you were looking ethereal. He couldn't take his eyes off you for some minutes, then he shrugged off and cursed himself mentally and then walked to you. He came closer to you, he checked your face, then circled around you. Much better. He went behind you and leaned closer towards your neck and sniffed it. Your heart raced as you felt his hot breath. You instantly back off and what are you doing, Mr. John? I was smelling you. Yesterday you were smelling like rotten eggs, but today you are smelling like delicious. You smell delicious today. You processed his words. Who? Have you memorized everything? He changed the topic. Yes, I have. Let's see if you can pass this task. Let's go now. He walked outside the office and you followed him. It's been almost an hour since you were at the party. Jungkook is meeting with investors and introducing you as his secretary. Hello, Mr. Park. I hope you are enjoying the party. Yes, Mr. John. His gaze landed on you. Who is this pretty lady beside you? Oh, she's my secretary, Kim Ban. Oh, nice to meet you, Miss Kim Ban. Nice to meet you too, sir. Excuse me, I have to attend this call. Yes, sure. Park walked away from there and Namjoon came towards you both. Jungkook, look over there, Yoonbu. Jungkook and you look where Namjoon pointed. Then he shifts gaze on you. Do you know who he is? Jungkook, how would she know? He is Cha Yoonbu, an important client who invested in your applications. Jungkook got impressed but didn't show it on his face. Well done, Miss Van. You smiled at him. How do you know him? In all those bundles of files, you also gave me a file of today's party's guest list. So, okay, I got it. Hyung, let's go to meet him. They walked towards Yunwoo and you followed them. Hello, Mr. Cha. Jungkook greeted with a smile. Oh, hello, Mr. Jeon. He handshake with Jungkook and Namjoon. How are you doing? I'm good. Well, I'm waiting to invest in all the applications that you will launch next. I came to meet you to talk about them. But first, I want to introduce her to you. This is Kim Ban, my new secretary. You smiled and greeted him while bowing 90 degrees. Hello, Mr. Cha. He nodded with a smile. So, next week we will launch a new application which we are proud to present. It's called Keep Up. That sounds interesting. What kind of application is it? Well, it's an app. Wait, Hyung. Namjoon frowned. Jungkook smirked. He crossed his arms and leaned towards you. Why don't you explain it to him? You forced a smile at him, then turned to look at Yeonwoo. Keep Up is an application to help users with weight loss. Based on your height and weight, it will design an exercise and diet routine that matches the user's weight loss goal. Jungkook unbelievably looked at you, explaining everything confidently. He got impressed, but he shrugged and again focused back on you. He's keenly waiting for you to make mistakes so that he can get a chance to scold you. But to his Disappointment, you didn't make any mistakes, and confidently explained Yunwoo each and every detail about the application. Once you finished, the Namjoon proudly clapped for you. Wow, it's interesting. I would love to invest in the application. That would be my honor. I'll have my secretary contact you later. Good. I like your secretary. She's pretty and smart. You all smiled. Excuse me. Yes, sure. Yunwoo walked away from there. Good job, Ban. You did good today. You smiled and bowed at him. Thank you, sir. Jungkook rolled his eyes. But there is a need for improvement. You seem disappointed with my performance. Yeah, a bit. Yeah, it's quite visible on your face, as you have missed the chance to freak out on me. What do you mean? I don't think I need to tell you that. You are smart enough to understand. Jungkook glared you. I'll go get something to eat. You smiled before walking away. You walked away, but Jungkook was still lost. Namjoon pressed his lips to control his smile. Jungkook turned to look at Namjoon. Hyung, did you see how she talked back at me? She's full of attitude. I just hate her guts. Namjoon let out a chuckle. Well, she didn't say anything wrong. You purposely told her to explain about the application, which you thought that she must not know about it, and you will get a chance to freak out on her. But see, she changed the game. Quite impressive, right? Hyung, you don't favor her. She's evil. Namjoon chuckled before patting his shoulder. Good morning, Mr. John. Jungkook, who was busy in work, rolled his eyes on hearing your voice. Why are you here early in the morning? You frowned. What do you mean? It's my job and I'm supposed to be here. Don't you have work for me? Yeah, wait. He take out a file from the drawer. Here, complete this in an hour. In an hour? Are you deaf? How can it be completed in just an hour? You can't complete it? Okay, no need to come from tomorrow. No, no, I can complete it. Actually, I will complete it. You better complete it. You nodded. Jerk, you mumbled. Did you say something? He asked while turning the pages of the file. No, no. Then go and work. And don't forget to give me coffee. Yes, sure, Mr. John. You turned around and cursed him, then went outside the office. Jungkook comes out of his office and walked towards your table. You confusingly looked at him. Get your things. We are going somewhere. Where? Just do what I said. But earlier you told me to complete this file. It's not completed yet. Complete it later. What? Follow me, he said sternly, and you sighed annoyingly. Jungkook turned around and starts going. Such a jerk he is. What does he think of himself? You gathered your things and ran behind him. Can't you shorten your strides just a little bit? You said while panting as soon as you reached him. It's not my fault your legs are short. You looked at him in disbelief. Mr. John, you looked at him with questioning eyes. Listen, Kimwan, if you want to stay with me, then there are things you need to readjust. Your short legs, for one, need to learn to keep up. Did you get it? You rolled your eyes. Yeah, got it. The lift opening sound distracts you both. Then Jungkook entered inside the lift along with you. Can you at least tell me where we are going in such a hurry? We are going to meet an important client. But what is my work there? Aren't you my secretary? And don't you know that a secretary needs to be with his her boss 24 by 7? Suddenly the lift stopped and lights turned off. What happened to this lift? You are trapped in this lift here. You always bring troubles. How is that my fault? You should do good deeds by releasing captured animals like fish or birds, so your life won't have many obstacles. You looked at him in disbelief. I'm not the only one who is unlucky here. You're also trapped here together. He rolled his eyes. Jungkook dialed someone's number. Hello, the elevator has stuck. Alright, I'll send technicians to you. You and Jungkook are working together. Suddenly the lights turned off and the cabin became dark. You both frowned and stood up from your places and walked forward. What happened? Why lights went off? Wait, I will call someone. You said and turned around to search your phone, but as it was dark and you couldn't see, so you bumped with Jungkook's chest. You gasped. You were just going to fall, but Jungkook held you protectively and saved you from falling. Both yours and his heartbeats increased their paces. He was so lost into seeing you as you were looking ethereal because of the moonlight falling on your face. He felt some strange and unknown emotions running through his body. He was unable to take his eyes off your face. Unknowingly, he moved his one hand towards your face to touch and feel it, but your eyes widened. You blinked multiple times and you panicked, due to which your foot slipped and you fell down on the floor along with Jungkook on top of you. And this time, your eyes widened more because Jungkook's lips accidentally pressed on yours. His eyes also widened. Your heartbeat fastened, and just then the lights turned on, and you instantly pulled Jungkook away and stood up from a place nervously. You backfaced Jungkook, and he looked at you with some unknown emotions. Then he also stood up. The situation got awkward between you two, and then your eyes widened when realization hits you. It was my first, and I lost it to such a rude man, you mumbled, but loud enough for Jungkook to hear. Wait, what did you say just now? Rude man. Do you think I'm rude? Bro, I just saved you from falling and you are accusing me. I agree that you were saving me, but who told you to? Me, you whined. You and I both know that it was just an accidental. But still, why are you making it a big issue? It was not even a but just a small peck. Do you think I'm making an issue? Bro, you just stole my first. Do you understand the importance of it? Wine, it was just an accidental peck, so stop making such a big issue of it, or else I'm going to show you how an actual kiss looks like. He said in a warning tone while taking a step towards you, and you nervously took some steps back on realizing his words. I'll get going now. It's getting late. You stuttered. You were not able to make eye contact with him, so you were looking down at the floor and Jungkook noticed it. Okay, you go home now. We will finish the remaining work tomorrow. Okay, you agreed, but till then you realized something. But tomorrow is weekend. Jungkook processed your words. Okay, then come to my place tomorrow. We will finish the remaining work there. Your place? Why? Then do you want me to come to your place? No, no, I mean to say, he cut off you. Look, Van, you should know that this work needs to be completed till Monday because we have a meeting about this project on Monday and we have no choice but to work, so come to my place tomorrow. Okay, then I'll get going now. He nodded. You went towards the table and packed your stuff, then bowed at him and left from there. He kept looking at you back until you disappeared from his sight. Was it really her first? He mumbled while remembering the flashbacks of that scene. Jungkook came out of the shower and stood in front of the mirror to wipe his wet hair. Suddenly he stopped wiping and took some more steps towards the mirror and see his face properly. He unknowingly touched his lips on remembering the accidental that he shared with you. Her lips were so soft, he unknowingly mumbled while looking at himself in the mirror. Then suddenly the realization hits him and he curses himself mentally. Why am I thinking about her? As Jungkook told you to come to his place, so you are standing outside his house, and Namjoon opened the door. He got a bit surprised to see you at the door. Mr. John asked me to come here for work. Namjoon raised his brows. Do you mean Jungkook told you to come to his place? He shook his head in disbelief. It's quite surprising. Come inside, I'll call him. Sure. He directed you towards the living area and told you to wait there, and he himself went somewhere. Mom, why are you shouting so early in the morning? Mom, I have got surprising news to tell you. And what is that? Jungkook let a girl to come home, which he never. His mother got surprised too. What? Are you serious, Namjoon? Yes, Mom, I have never been so serious in my life before. Show me where is he? He took his mom towards the window and showed you to her. She's pretty. But how come Jungkook invited her to home? Mom sees the new secretary whom Dad appointed for him. Still, he never even brought his secretary at home. Mom, you're talking about bringing the secretary home. Don't you know that before her, any secretary has not stayed here for more than a day? Yes, you're right, June. No secretary could handle him for more than a day. Mom, I'm telling you, she's different and unique. I think so too. Suddenly, she saw Jungkook coming towards the kitchen. Jungkook is coming, she whispered, and Namjoon straightened himself and changed the topic. Wow, mom, you made fried rice today? Yes, she said while cooking. Jungkook entered the kitchen and greeted Mrs. John. Good morning, mom. Good morning, dear. Mom, is breakfast ready? I'm hungry. Yeah, almost ready. Help me to put these dishes on the dining table. Jungkook and Namjoon both helped to put dishes on the dining table. By the way, Jungkook, I forgot to tell you that someone is waiting for you in the living room. Who, mom? Your secretary Kim Wan. Unknowingly, a smile formed on his lips. Oh, she came. He turned around and made his way to the living room. Mom, did you see how his face lightened up on hearing Van's name? You talk too much. Go and call your dad for breakfast. Okay, mom. He left from there to call his dad, and Mrs. John walked towards living area. You were tapping your foot on the floor, waiting for Jungkook, then you noticed him coming towards you. Your heart skipped a beat on seeing him. His facial features are so ethereal, and his physique is just amazing. You were unable to take your eyes off him. He looked so cool in casuals. Then realization hits you, and you cursed yourself mentally and came out of your thoughts. Good morning, Mr. John. From how long you're waiting? Such a rude he is. Can't he even greet me back? It's just 5 minutes. Okay, have you had breakfast? Yes. Then wait a little more. I'll be back after having breakfast. Okay. Jungkook, these are not the manners. She was eavesdropping till now and she suddenly came from behind. Mom, you first looked at Jungkook and then at Mrs. Yeon. Dear, you two have breakfast with us. She said to you lovingly, and you bowed at her. Good morning, Mrs. John. I'm Kimba and Mr. John's secretary. She nodded with a smile. I know already. You and Jungkook frowned. Mom, who told you? I told her. Namjoon and Mr. John walked towards you all. Okay. You instantly bowed and greeted Jungkook's dad. Good morning, sir. Morning, dear. Are you comfortable at work? You looked at Jungkook before replying. Yeah, I am. Thank you for giving me the chance. You all can talk later. First, let's have breakfast. Yes, mom, please. Why don't you two join us? No, Mrs. John, I have already. Your gaze fell on Jungkook and you saw him signing you to say yes. Okay, Mrs. John, thank you so much. She smiled and you all went towards the dining area. Hey June, try this, she said while bringing a spoon full of food in front of his mouth. He nodded and opened his mouth and ate it. Amazing, mom. Jungkook pouted and whined like a kid. Mom, you fed Hyung by your hand. What about me? Mrs. John chuckled. She also fed him by her hands. Seeing all this, you were astonished as hell. I have never seen this side of him. He can be cute too. It's quite surprising and unbelievable. You happy now? She asked to Jungkook. Yes, mom, too much. She then kissed his cheek. Then Jungkook looked at Namjoon and smirked before saying, did you see mom loves me more? She loves me more because I am the first child of this family. You are admiring both Jungkook and Namjoon's cute fight. While watching them, you got lost in your thoughts and Mrs. Jeon noticed it. You both eat silently. Mom and Dad love you both equally. They both bent quiet and Mrs. Jeon kept looking at you as you were looking lost. Vine dear, what happened to you? Where are you lost? You came back to your senses. Everyone is looking at you now. Nowhere. I was just thinking that your family is cute. Oh, yes, right. She got cut off as Jungkook spoke up. What's cute in that? Everyone out there has a family, and all families are like this. There is nothing like cute in a family. No, Mr. John Jungkook, you're wrong. Not everyone has a family. You said in a serious tone. You're saying as if you don't have a family. He said casually, but he didn't know that he unknowingly said the wrong thing. Jungkook dear, you shouldn't talk like this. Mom, I was just saying, he got cut off by you. Yes, I don't have a family, you said in a serious tone while looking down in your plate and a drop of tear rolled down your eyes. My younger sister is my only family that I have. Everyone got serious on listening to you, along with Jungkook. He regret his words. But dear, what about your parents? You looked up to answer her. They both died 2 years ago in an accident. Tears started to collect in your eyelashes, making it difficult to see. Jungkook didn't know why his heart clenched on seeing tears in your eyes. Mrs. Jeon stood up from her chair and walked to you. She cupped your face and wiped your tears, which just streamed down your eyes. We apologize for your loss, but don't worry, we all are your family from now onwards. And you can call me mom. You felt so blessed to hear this from Mrs. Jeon. You couldn't hold yourself back and hugged her waist. She kissed your hair and pecked your forehead. You are in Jungkook's room. You both are working together on the project. You are typing. You casually looked up and saw Jungkook seriously engaged in work. You gazed at his facial features. You were looking at him as if you were admiring him. He looks cool when he is serious. Jungkook felt your gaze on him, so he looked at you and found you already staring him. I know I am handsome, but that doesn't mean you will keep staring me and will not work at all. You scoffed. Are not you too full of yourself? Why? Did I say anything wrong? Stop talking and work. You focus back on your screen. Are you forgetting who is the boss here? He asked in a teasing way. Well, you are my boss only in the office, and this is not your office. You said, then shifted your gaze on the laptop and started working. Jungkook smiled while seeing you, but then his smile faded as he remembered this morning's incident. He is still feeling guilty of what happened at breakfast time. He decided to apologize to you. Mine? Yes, eh? You said while typing. When I'm really sorry for whatever I said in the morning. I didn't know that you don't have a family. Trust me, I'm regretting it so much. You know to say sorry? You asked in a surprising yet mocking way. One, please, I'm serious. You sighed. It's all right. I'm sure if you knew, you would never have said something like that. Yes, I would never have said like that. Work is almost done. Do one thing, do the remaining work at your home. Okay, you nodded. Okay, wrap up your things then. Sure. Jungkook is escorting you to the door. You passed through the living room and found Jungkook's mom and his brother Namjoon sitting there. You bowed at them. Are you going already, man? Yes, Mrs. John. Work is almost finished, so I'll get going now. Didn't I tell you earlier to call me mom? You got nervous and looked at Jungkook. He nodded his head and you understood it, then looked back at Mrs. John. Why do you always look at Jungkook when I ask you something? Are you perhaps scared of him? No, Mrs. John. I mean, mom. It's nothing like that. Are you going alone? Jungkook, are not you going to drop? No, mom, there's really no need for that. I can go by my own. After all, it's a still day, and I also have some work, so it's alright. Okay, then take care of yourself and visit us often. Sure, mom, you replied with a smile, and she kissed your hair, and it gave you such a warm feeling. Jungkook smiled on seeing you, and his mother's warned. Then you turned around before taking glance of Jungkook and started going outside. Jungkook, Namjoon, and Mrs. Jeon are looking at your disappearing figure. Namjoon noticed the way Jungkook was staring you. He signed Mrs. Jeon to look at Jungkook, and she was also surprised to see the way he was staring you. It looked like he was admiring you. They both smiled on seeing Jungkook. Then Namjoon decided to tease Jungkook, so he walked closer to him. You like her, don't you? He asked out of sudden, and Jungkook came back to his senses and shifted his gaze on Namjoon. Like whom? Her. He signed towards the way you went, and Jungkook scoffed. Like her? He asked in disbelief. Right. Absolutely not, bro. She's just too loud and obnoxious. She's evil and full of attitude. I just hate her, he said in one go. What made you think so? You brought her home, and that is such an unbelievable and surprising act of yours. Hyung, tomorrow we have a meeting with Cha Yunbu. So to finish the remaining work, I called her home. It's just that simple. He said, then left from there upstairs. What was that? Mom, is true. It's just he's not ready to accept it yet. You hurriedly entered inside Jungkook's cabin and he noticed your presence. Mr. Jeon, let's go. Mr. Cha is here already for the meeting. You said in a hurry. Okay, let's go. You nodded. He stood up and walked forward, but then you noticed his tie was not tied well, so you stopped him. Wait, Mr. John. He stopped at his place after hearing you. What happened now? Your tie, it's not tied well. Let me fix it. Do it fast. You walked closer to him, as he is much taller than you, so you were not able to reach it. Can you bend down a little? I can't reach it. Why are you so tiny? He said while bending down to your level. You started fixing his tie. Well, it's not my mistake, you said while fixing the tie. He didn't reply back this time, as he was lost in admiring you. When you were done fixing the tie, then you looked up at him and found him already looking at you. You got a little nervous. He kept staring your eyes, then his gaze went to your lips. He got sudden urge to, so he leaned into your face. You got nervous, both yours and his face was just an inch apart. Your heart beats fast as you could feel his breath on your lips. You unknowingly closed your eyes. Jungkook was just going to place his lips on yours until someone knocks the door, and it was Namjoon. He saw it all. You both awkwardly took steps back from each other. Jungkook looked here and there, cursing himself mentally, and you two looked down. What was I going to do just now? He ran his hand through his hair and put his hand on his waist. Namjoon suspiciously looked at you both with a smirk. I'll get going. Please, you both two come soon for the meeting. Jungkook nodded, then you went outside. Then Namjoon walked towards Jungkook with a smirk. Jungkook tried to ignore his mischievous gaze. He cleared his throat. Can you stop looking at me like that? It's weird. I saw you both staring at each other just now. I'm just not sure if it was tension or rage. Jungkook glared Namjoon. Stop talking and let's go for the meeting. He said, then walked outside the office. Namjoon chuckled. So it was really the tension. Let's see how long you're going to deny your feelings for her. Jungkook entered inside the meeting room and your gaze met his. You instantly broke the eye contact and looked down out of awkwardness. He greeted Yunwoo, then took his seat and signaled you to go front and explain things. Soon you started explaining. Jungkook is quite stunned and impressed by you, as he didn't expect that you would be this much perfect. He is proudly admiring you explaining. Namjoon secretly smiled as he noticed all this. At the end of the meeting, everyone praised you as you became the reason for the success of the meeting. Jungkook and Yunwoo shake hands as Yunwoo agreed for the collaboration. Once again, your secretary didn't fail to impress me, he said to Jungkook while looking at you. Jungkook felt an unknowing feeling running through his body. He didn't know why he didn't like the way Jeonwoo praised you, but he shrugged it off and forced a smile on his face. Well, after all, she's my secretary and I have trained her well. You smiled. Yeah, right. Well, Miss Kim, would you like to have dinner with me tonight? You got nervous and looked at Jungkook. He's already glaring at you seriously, and you thought that he's warning you not to say no as he's his important client. Sure, Mr. Cha, I would love. I'm sorry, Mr. Cha, but she's quite busy with work tonight, he said with a forced smile. You frowned as you confusedly looked at Jungkook, but someone was enjoying all this, and it was none other than Namjoon. Oh, it's alright then. Let's eat together some other day. Yes, sure, Mr. Cha. You said while smiling, and Jungkook unknowingly clenched his jaw on seeing that. Why is she smiling so brightly at him? She never smiles like that with me. I'll walk you outside, Mr. Cha. Sure. You glanced at Jungkook. He looked so pissed, but you shrugged it for now and made your way to walk Yunwoo outside. Once you left, Namjoon came close to Jungkook while smirking. Is someone jealous? He asked teasingly. Jungkook, who was still busy looking at your retreating figure, came back to his senses, hearing Namjoon's voice. What? What did you say? I said exactly what you heard. Young, your mind is filled with unnecessary thoughts, so clear them, please, he said in a serious tone, and Namjoon pressed his lips to control his smile. Okay, I will clear them. By the way, is she handling the job well? Yes, she is, he replied, then left from there. He is telling me to clear my mind. What about himself, whose mind is filled with Vian's thoughts only? Jungkook growled. Dropping his hand to his hips, he impatiently walked back and forth. He loosens the tie, then ran his hand through his messed up hairs. Does it take this much time to walk someone outside? He was thinking this till then you rushed into the office and his gaze fell on you. You gulped as you notice that he is looking so pissed. Did you go to drop him to his home? No, I just walked him outside. Then does it take this much time? No, it just took me 5 minutes. You're making it sound like I went for hours. He got more pissed now. Do you enjoy walking people outside that much? Should I give you that work? Are you for real, Mr. John? I was just doing my work. Does work include going on date with my client? You looked at him with disbelief. Date? I was just doing what you were signaling me to. When he asked me for dinner, I looked at you, and through your expressions, I thought you wanted me to say yes, so I said yes to him. I had no other intention. He is your important client, so I was just trying not to make any mistakes and treat him well. Kimban, I'm your boss first, and you never treated me well before. You never ever showed me that pretty smile of yours. You never. Wait, what did you say? Jungkook realized his words and stayed quiet. Are you perhaps jealous, Mr. John? You asked while raising your brows. Jealous and me? Have you gone mad? No way, you are actually jealous. I am not at all jealous, okay? I don't care who you smile at. I don't care with whom you go out for dinner. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure that it doesn't affect the work, alright? You pressed your lips tightly and nodded. Now go and bring me coffee. Okay, you started going outside but then remembered something and turned back. By the way, how was my performance today? Did I do well at the meeting? You asked him hopefully with a smile. Your performance was impressive. Jungkook kept looking at you for a few seconds and didn't reply. Your smile faded. You thought that he didn't like your performance much. You cut him off. All right, I'll improve myself more and prove to you that I deserve to stay here. You said in low voice, then turned around to go. Jungkook sighed. This girl doesn't even let me speak. He walked towards you and turned you around by holding your hand. You gasped and looked at your hand, which he was holding. Your heartbeat unknowingly fastened. You were going to say something. Till then, he spoke up. Let's go. We are going somewhere. But where? He ignored you and made his way outside, holding your hand, and you followed him like a lost puppy. So, are you really treating me an ice cream for my performance? You asked with a smile. Yes, it was pretty good, he said without looking at you. Actually, Jungkook took you to an ice cream parlor and brought you ice cream as a reward. He wanted to show that he appreciates your performance at the meeting today. Look at you stuttering. Is it that hard to praise me? He looked at you before saying, finish your ice cream. You talk too much. You smell before licking the ice cream. So, did I pass the trial period? Am I staying here? You asked him with hopeful eyes. He looked at you before saying, yes, you have passed. A blissful smile bloomed across your face. Thank you so much. You stood and bowed at him while smiling. He unknowingly smiled on seeing you happy. Sit back, you dummy. He told you to sit back, so you sat back on your place. Do you want more ice cream? No, it's enough. Thank you so much. I have never seen this generous side of him. He actually has a good heart. This is the first time we are having a normal conversation. Probably yes. What can I even do when you are so annoying and dumb? You looked at him out of disbelief. Are you for real? He laughed, shaking his head. By the way, what would you have done if you had not passed the trial period? He asked out of blue. Then I would have gone somewhere else to find the job because I can't sit back at home as I have the responsibility of my younger sister, you said while looking at invisible point. How responsible and hardworking she is, and I have been giving her a hard time. Don't worry, I'm with you now. I will take care of you and your responsibilities. You looked at him with astonishment. Are you sure about what you said just now? I have never been more sure in my life before. You chuckled. Stop being so nice to me, you said with a smile. Why? I'm just afraid it will make me feel good. Jungkook kept looking at you while processing your words. Let's go back. We have lot of remaining work to complete. You said with a forced smile and stood up to go. Jungkook looked at your retreating figure, then took a deep breath and followed you. Jungkook looked outside and noticed you were not at your desk. He frowned and dialed your number. Hello, Mr. John. Where are you? Bring me hot chocolate. Okay, please wait for a few minutes. Okay. He cuts the call and gets back to work, but his mind is on you. After 10 minutes, when you still didn't come, then Jungkook frowned in confusion and decided to check by himself. Here, Mr. Zin, I have made copies of them. You can check it. You handed the copies to the head of department of your office. Okay, I will check them. First go and bring me coffee. You found it a bit weird. Why he is giving you orders? First he told you to make copies and now coffee. You shrugged and decided to bring coffee for him. Here, Mr. Jin, he took coffee from you and sipped it. He made the worst face after sipping it. Is it not good, sir? You asked politely. Is this how coffee is made? Poison is better than this rubbish. Your heart dropped on listening to him. I'm sorry, Mr. Jin, I'll make you another one. Don't you even know how to make coffee? Who hired you here? He said while throwing away the cup of coffee. You flinched at his burst out. Unknowingly, a drop of tear escaped from your eye. How dare you to shout at my secretary? Who gave you that right? He shouted while coming towards you. You didn't know why you felt relieved on seeing Jungkook. He came closer to you and saw your tear-filled eyes. Unknowingly his heart ached and he clenched his fist tightly. He turned to face Jin. Sir, I was just telling her to learn to make coffee. He tried to defend himself. I have heard everything already. No need to lie. First of all, tell me who are you to order around my secretary? Sir, I just asked her for coffee. Who the hell are you to do that? You have no right to order my secretary. Did you get that? Everyone gasped at the sudden outburst of Jungkook. You two surprisingly looked at him as you are seeing his new sides day by day. Jin lowered his head out of embarrassment. Apologize to her right now. Zin looked up at him. Sir, I just asked her to. Right now, or else you are fired. Zin lowered his head. I have never seen him this much mad before. I'm sorry, Miss Vine, he apologized while lowering his head. Listen, everyone. No one has the right to order my secretary. Only I have the right. Remember that. He warned. Everyone nodded. He then came closer to you and held your hand. You looked at him, astonished. Come with me, he said softly and made his way to the office while holding your hand. Why did you follow his orders? He asked you in a softer tone. He is the head of the department, so I. You got cut off as he held your shoulders. Doesn't matter who he is. It doesn't matter. You don't have to follow anyone's order here other than me, okay? You nodded. I'm your boss here. You will only follow my order and only do what I will tell you to. You will not do anything at someone else's order, okay? You nodded. He stepped back from you and dropped his hands to his and exhaled a deep breath and walked back and forth. You silently watched his actions, then decided to ask, I have never seen you that mad before. He turns to look at you. And I also have never felt this way before. I have never been so affected by anyone's tears as much as I am affected by yours. I happen to know right now that I can't bear tears in your eyes. You looked at him, processing his words. He closes the distance and kisses your cheek. I have never hated anything as much as I hate seeing tears in your eyes, he said while looking deep in your eyes. You read his eyes and found some unknown emotions in them. You back off and, can I know the reason? You asked with a straight face. I myself don't know. Okay. Thank you for helping me today. I'll go bring hot chocolate for you. He nodded, then he walked away and he stared at your retreating figure. You are working together with Jungkook in his office. You noticed him hunching over his desk and rubbing his temple with a tired expression. You hesitated for a moment and cleared your throat. Mr. John, you seem exhausted. Would you like a shoulder massage? It might help with the tension. You offered tentatively, unsure of how he would react. He looked up sharply, his brow furrowed in surprise. A massage? Are you serious? Yes, Mr. John, it might ease the stress, you replied, trying to keep your tone respectful yet concerned. He scrutinized you for a moment and then sighed heavily. Fine, if you insist, but make it quick. You walked and stood behind him. Nervously, you began kneading his shoulders, trying to remember the techniques you had seen in online videos. You kept the massage professional, focusing on easing the knots in his shoulders and neck. What are you doing to me? He asked out of blue. What do you mean? I think I'm getting used to you being around. He held your hand to stop you from massaging further and bring you in front, then made you sit on his lap and put his chin on your shoulder and close his eyes. You guessed at his sudden move. Your heartbeat fastens. Are you aware of what you are doing right now? I may not be aware of that, but I'm pretty certain that you are the only thing that fills my head these days. You are all I can think about. You need to know that I have grown to care for you deeply. You make me want to be better. This was not supposed to happen. You were not supposed to do this to me. You processed his words. What about you? Does my presence affect you? No. You stuttered out of nervousness. He chuckled. Are you sure? Because your heart is saying otherwise. As it's beating so fast, I can hear it. You suddenly stood up from his lap and looked down nervously. He smirked and stood up too. He closed the distance, but he took steps back. Don't come close to me, it makes me blush. He laughs out loudly. Does it? He asked while bending down to your height, and you nodded slyly. No problem, it's not your fault. I'm so handsome, girls go crazy over me. You looked at him in disbelief and rolled your eyes. You're back to your role. Why are you so self obsessed? You're also back to your role. Why are you so cranky? Me and cranky? Do you really think I'm one? He nodded and laughed loudly, shaking his head. You playfully hit him. Don't hit me, I'm your boss. Boss needs to stay in their limits. He pulled you closer by your best. Well, employees also need to stay in their limits. They should not occupy their boss mind. Are you flirting with me? Is it bugging? Not at all. You pushed him away. Stop messing with me. I have so much work left to do. Well, I love messing with you. Why? Because you look cute when you're annoyed. What did you just say? I said you look like a fruit. He said teasingly and laughs. Come on, that doesn't even make any sense. You know what? It's already late. Do the remaining work tomorrow and wrap up your things. I'll drop you at your place. Okay, boss. He smiled, then he walked away to pack your things. Jungkook is looking at the ceiling while thinking about you. He is unaware that he is unknowingly smiling and blushing. Namjoon and his mother peeped in and saw him blushing while lost in his own thoughts. They both chuckled. Mom, did you see? My brother is so in love with someone. He whispered to his mom. I can see it. And I think that someone is none other than Van. She whispered back. Of course, Mom. Let's go inside. Namjoon nodded. They both slowly entered into the room. Jungkook gasped when he noticed their presence. He sat straight. Mom, you both here? We saw that you were smiling looking at the ceiling, so we thought to check on you if you are well or not. No, I am fine, Mom. Well, who were you thinking about? He asked teasingly. No one. Why would I think about someone? Were you thinking about Van? He asked straightly and Jungkook choked on his saliva. Mrs. Jeon worriedly patted Jungkook's back and scolded Namjoon. Hyung-si is so annoying. Why would I think about her? Stop lying, Jungkook. You were definitely blushing while thinking about her. Jungkook sighed. Yes, I was thinking about her because I'm confused as hell. She's always on my head. I don't know what's happening to me, why I'm feeling this way, why my mind is occupied by her thoughts. She makes me so unbelievably happy. Her smile brings me joy and her tears brings me immense pain. I just don't know what this feeling is. Namjoon walked closer to Jungkook and patted his shoulder. Come on, man, you're in love with her. Jungkook looked at Namjoon with confused eyes. Am I really in love with her? Yes, son, you do love her. But how, Mom? How can I love the girl whom I hated so much? You hated her in the beginning, but eventually she has won your heart. I cannot stand to be away from her. I think I really love her. I'm glad that you realized it. Now confess it to her too. Sure, Hyung, I will soon. Treat her well, she's a gem. She said while putting her hand on Jungkook's shoulder. He smiled and nodded. Today is weekend. You're at the grocery store to buy groceries. Suddenly, out of blue, someone called your name. Miss Vine, you here? What a coincidence. You turned around and found Yunwoo. You smiled awkwardly before saying, Yes, Mr. Chow. How are you doing? I'm good. Are you done with buying groceries? Almost done. Then would you like to have lunch with me? You hesitated a bit. Okay, you forced a smile. Why is the weekend today? What would she be doing at this time? I can't stop thinking about her. Should I call her? After fighting a lot with his thoughts, he finally decided to call you. Do you like the food? Yes, it's pretty good. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. He was just going to ask you, but till then, your phone rings up. You looked at the caller ID and then looked at Yunwoo and forced a smile on your face. Yunwoo smiled and gestured you to take the call first, so you pick up. Hello, Mr. John. What should I talk to her? What are you doing? Nothing. What did you call me for? Why are you stuttering? Who, me? No, no, I'm not stuttering. Okay, then tell me, why did you call me? To hear your voice, I was craving for it. You blinked nervously and cleared your throat. You turned around a little and... This sounds like you're flirting with me. You said in a low voice so that Yunwoo can't hear you. I have been trying to do that for a while now. Waiter, please take these plates away. He called the waiter to take the dishes away, but Jungkook frowned as he recognized Yunwoo's voice. Wait, who are you with? You hesitated a bit to tell him as you were scared of how he would react. I'm with Mr. Cha. Jungkook's blood boiled. What are you doing with him? He asked in a little louder voice. We coincidentally met at the grocery store, so... Where are you right now? We are just done with lunch. I asked something, Ryan. His voice is filled with dominating one. You got nervous yet scared a bit. At the XX place, you replied in low voice. Wait for me, I'm coming there. But Mr. John, he cursed the call, you sighed. Why he always gets mad whenever I'm with Mr. Cha? You pushed the phone back and looked at Yunwoo. I'm sorry for the disturbance. It's alright. By the way, was it Jungkook on the call? Yes. You were asking something? Yes, I was. If you have a boyfriend, you nervously looked at him. No, not yet. Can I ask why? Because I want to focus on work first, as I have so many responsibilities on my back. Wow, that's so great of you. You might be talking with Yeonwoo, but your mind was on Jungkook. You were unable to understand why he reacted that way. In no time, Jungkook came at the cafe. He roamed his eyes around to search you, and when finally his gaze landed on you, then he felt a tinge of jealousy running through his body. He clenched his fist, then walked towards your table. Yeonwoo noticed his presence. Oh, Mr. John, you here? Jungkook forced a smile on his face. I came to take my secretary. Yeonwoo frowned. What, why? Jungkook raised his voice. Do I really need to tell you the reason? I mean, of course, it's not even working hours, then why? I have some work with her. Why don't you sit back and have lunch by yourself? I'm sorry, but I have to take her with me. You confusingly looked at him. But why, Mr. John? It's a weekend today and didn't I tell you to not to talk back at me? You looked at him for a few seconds out of disappointment and then sighed internally and looked down. He shifted his gaze on Yunwoo. Enjoy your food, Mr. Cha, he said in a mocking way, then held your hand and walked outside. Once you came outside, you yanked your hand away from his grip. He frowned and turned around to look at you. What was that? I should be the one asking you this. Do you even have any idea how you just behaved with Mr. Cha? He's our important client. How can you behave so rudely with him, man? He heard you silently, then came closer to you and held your hand and starts walking. Answer me first. Where are you taking me? He ignored you and kept walking. You forcefully tried to yank away your hand from his grip, but he was holding it too tightly and he walked to his car and made you sit inside it. And he himself sat and drove off. Where are you taking me? He ignored you and kept driving. Alright, you kept asking him where he is taking you, but he didn't reply. He stopped the car near the edge of a cliff. You opened the door and stepped out of the car. He too came out of the car. Why have you bring me here? To talk. To talk? Are you for real? Now tell me, what were you doing with Yunwoo? I was just having a simple lunch with him. Did you guys plan this date? You looked at him with disbelief. Date? Seriously, Mr. John? I already told you that I was outside for the grocery shopping and coincidentally we met, and he asked me for lunch so I couldn't refuse him. Why? Do you perhaps like him? That you couldn't refuse him? He asked with a straight face. You gave him a disbelief look. Do not put unnecessary accusations on me. He's our important client, so I couldn't refuse. Important client, damn it. Important client doesn't mean you will do whatever he will tell you to. He raised his voice. You stared him blankly. Don't raise your voice at me. You are not my boss outside the office. You said with the same pace. I'm just asking you an explanation. I have explained you already, and if it still doesn't fit in your mind, then I don't give about it. See, I understand that you made him coincidentally, but you could have told me you're having lunch with him. You got annoyed now. Why would I tell you about it? I'm unable to understand why you are making such a big issue of it. I can go out with whoever I want. Why does it affect you so much? Yes, it does affect me. It affects me a lot. My blood boils when I see you near him. In fact, I can't bear to see you getting close with any other man. I just can't stand it. Why? You are confusing me. Stop being difficult. Probably because I love you. You stared him with unknown emotions. He took a step closer to you. What? It came out as a whisper. Yes, Van, I think I'm very in love with you. I'm sorry, I might have overreacted just now, but every time I see you with him, I just lose control over myself. I just want to punch the shit out of him so that he can never even lay his eyes on you again. It can't be true. What, Van? You and love me? It's impossible. Why do you think so? Didn't you used to claim that you hate me? I may despise you with the burning white hot intensity of 1,000 suns, but that doesn't mean I don't love you. Trust me, I really am in love with you, and I'm sorry for everything I have said to you before. If I could take it all back, I would. Your heart raced as you struggled to process his words. You had fought against him, clashed with him, and yet here he was, bearing his soul to you. I don't know what to say, you managed to whisper, your voice betraying the whirlwind of feelings inside you. Tears welled up in your eyes, surprising even yourself with the sudden appearance. He worriedly and confusingly came near you and, oh my god, why are you crying? Does me liking you disgust you that much? You lightly on his chest. No, it's because you like me back, but I spent all that time thinking you had never liked me that way. So you mean these are tears of happiness? He asked, raising his brows, and you quickly nodded. A wide smile spread on his lips, and he pulled you in his embrace. You two wrapped your arms around him. Oh my god, I love you so damn much. He lifted you up at once in his arms and began to swing you around. Jungkook put me down. You tightly grabbed onto his shoulder. Jungkook, I'll fall. I'll not let you, he said with a smile. Then he puts you down and cupped your face. From when did you fall in love with me? Probably from the day when you told me that you will take care of me and my responsibilities. He smiled before pecking your forehead. And what about you? Probably from the day we had our first. You smiled. Was it your first too? He nodded with a smile. I'm glad that you were my first. Me too, he said with a smile. You both looked at each other's eyes. His gaze landed on your lip and you understood what he wanted. He started leaning in. You closed your eyes and waited for his lips to land on yours, but you didn't know what that he stopped in the middle because of nervousness. Just me, old lady man. He heard you, then wasted no more time and smashed his lips onto yours. The started hesitantly as if tasting the waters, but quickly deepened into something more profound and meaningful. Their breaths mingled in the cool air, and he could hear the faint sound of their heartbeats in unison. The world around them faded into insignificance as they lost themselves into the sweetness of the moment. In that fleeting instant, they both knew that everything had changed between them, and they were eager to explore their new chapter together.